Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we got a little short space of time. If we get our slide back up with our speakers. Helsing, come on up. Helsing from Wolfgang Media. We keep a big round of applause going here. Okay, and Michael, are we ready? Okay. Michael, come on up, come on up. Michael Kinney, Helsing Reading. Welcome to the Soho Media Club Presents. And we are here to talk about fostering creativity, spark innovation. And here we go. Okay. At Soho Media Club, it is centered around production. I felt like, oh, that's a bit awkward. Hi, Wayne. Thanks for coming. Yeah, rock and roll. Right, can everyone hear me in the back? I think we got to eat the mics, folks, because I was standing back there. I couldn't hear much of anything. Soho Media Club is founded off the basis of, again, production, post-production. We talk about case studies, we talk about stories everywhere we go in the world, but at Soho Media Club, we're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about the people stories and a little bit of the roots and the values of where we've come from today. And fostering creativity, sparking innovation. There's a lot to unpack here. But first, let's get to know you. Michael, introduce yourself, please, and tell us what you do for a living and your favorite drink at the beach bar at IBC.
The beach bar. My name is Michael Cioni. I'm a serial entrepreneur, mainly working in the Hollywood sector, and just love building workflow for content creators everywhere. I'm a Hefeweizen drinker, so I'm a Bavarian-style drink, so that's Bavarian. Where I head, yeah.
Anyone from Bavaria in the house? One person.
Wunderbar.
Okay. Wunderbar. Hello.
Hello.
Helsing?
Hello.
You got like a DJ name, Helsing Reading or something, right? Okay.
Well, this is actually, you misspelled my name.
I didn't do... Oh.
Somebody did, but it's okay. It's
That's
a
all right.
project.
Please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, and what is your favorite drink at the beach bar?
I haven't been to the beach bar here.
You got to eat the mic, bro.
Be a Negroni, I guess.
A Negroni, you guessed. Well, let's find out later.
Yeah.
Great. So while we've got you holding the mic very close to your mouth so everybody can hear you. Yes. Let's give it a bit of background. I want to know, from what you do now,
yes.
Where did it kind of all begin? Like, at what point in your life did you go, I need to work in production? Let's go back to basics.
Do you want to start all the way at the beginning?
Yes. Like, when did you realize, I'm holding this camera in my hand, I'm a storyteller, I want to do something?
Well, it started in preschool, actually. When we were developing a play, I instantly gravitated towards building the decor. So, and also directing the story. So that's when I knew I wanted to become a director. I didn't become a director, but I did become a creative director, which was a lot of fun for a while. I started my first agency in 2005, which was mainly focused on social video. Then you would call it viral video, and that was born out the pure excitement of becoming a broadcaster to the whole wide world from my little room. I was able to reach people in Japan, in the US, everywhere, and I got comments, I got traction, I got interviews by New York Times. I made crazy stuff, which people believed were real. So we made fake documentaries about things that could
before fake news was cool, Helsing.
Before fake news was cool, and it was actually very amusing news. Yeah. So we created an ad agency that was based on praying, for instance. That people prayed for brands, and we got actual clients that wanted to participate, and we created a scandal around that. We had a lot of child labor behind it, the children praying for the brands.
Wow, that sounds really ethical and moral, Helsing.
I know, but it sparked a discussion.
Yes.
And I think it's good to be part of the discussion, and I think that always made me engaged.
Absolutely.
And I was always looking for something like that, and that's happening now as well. So now I founded the Wolfgang Project, which is a decentralized creative platform where we connect creators that work mainly in AI, developers, investors, and companies that don't know what to do with AI. And there's a lot of them.
Yes.
So it's a good spot to be right now.
The AI little tag thing that's been going about 80 years, and suddenly everyone's discovered it, which is great.
I know.
88 keys on a piano, dude.
I was
that's all I
into
can
VR in the late 90s.
Sure.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But
It was huge
I know.
in my life.
What headset were you using?
We had there was a huge Sega setup with like a massive stand that you could stand on with wires going to the ceiling, and you could stand on blocks in the metaverse.
Okay.
But I was sold, and then it got quiet for a long time, and now it's back. There's still a lot of people that think it's over
again,
because it was big last year, but I think there's a little.
Not a little nod of recognition from you, Michael. There. So tell us, kind of like going back. Where did it begin for you to realize I want to make content, I want to produce and direct and get my footage seen by the world?
Well, I was just telling Nancy over here.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Where's Nancy?
She's operating.
What's up,
here.
Nancy?
I was just telling her when I got really excited when digital technology started to infiltrate and started to become a problem, a nuisance for the film community. I'm from Chicago. When I moved to California, I thought California would be all about embracing the latest and greatest technology. And it turned out they didn't really want it that much. And so I realized as soon as people said, I don't know if we want this digital stuff, I'm like, well, that's where I want to be. I want to be in the place where change is being discovered for the first time.
And you were only 5 years old then.
Sure.
Right.
And I used to go to Sundance. I was telling Nancy that they used to publish on the Sundance portfolio of all the films what the film was shot on. And it would say DV, mini DV, shot on an XL1, shot on a PD150, the Panasonic SDX900.
So those are like part of the credits of the film.
And it got people to want to go see those films, not just purely for the film, but the medium the film was being shot on. And that was interesting 20 years ago, that filmmaking wasn't about film anymore. It was starting to be just about whatever technology worked for you. That was really got me excited.
Yeah.
Is that a format was disruptive technology, and it gave, I would say, creators that might not have had the opportunity to use 35 millimeter or something like that, it gave them an opportunity to tell their story anyway. Today, it sounds obvious. We use whatever tools at our fingertips, but that wasn't always the case. And it's important that there are people on the forefront always driving the next thing. And any time today, people are talking about AI being a disruptive thing. Well, nobody's arguing that digital cameras like these Arri Alexis are disruptive, but they were at a time, and then we got acclimated to it, and it became normalized and a standard, and everybody's fine with it. So we'll see AI go through the same transform.
Yeah, can we rewind slightly, because I think you jumped about 10, you missed 10 years there, and I only know because we're both from Illinois, which I only found out because of the power of LinkedIn and algorithms, which is really fantastic, and I'm sitting here talking to you now. So tell us a little bit about, you were so excited by the craft and knowing what cameras we used, what lenses we used, were they Zeiss, were they Arris, were they, what was happening, what kind of tripod was it? So that took you to Southern Illinois, Carbondale. I'm in Edwardsburg, it's fine. What happened during your uni years that you felt was a tipping point into what got you to where you are today?
In 1999, Apple released Final Cut Pro version 1, the G4, and Sony released DV Cam with FireWire. And this all basically happened at the same time. And when you combine FireWire with Final Cut with Apple computers, you had the new birth of something totally new. And it wasn't one technology, it was this collection of new technologies that opened everything up.
Yes.
In a way, many of us have that same story, because I see some guy dancing over in the back, because for those of us that were there at the beginning of FireWire and DV Cam and Final Cut, it actually became the inspiration for us to create, became the tool sets for creation, and for me, it inspired a new way of creating.
As a producer.
Director, producer. I ended up, they have the Emmys for students. I ended up winning the student Emmys a couple years in a row, and they send you to the Cannes Film Festival, and
that sounds a drag.
And you get exposed to these things. But it was, to me, it was the digital tools were the solutions. They were the vehicles that were getting me to these new places.
Yeah.
And creatively and professionally.
So what's great about that is that the things that were disrupting and freaking people out were sparking your curiosity that made you go, I'm not just going to sit there and let people complain about it. Let's pick it up, get our hands dirty. Sorry, people over there. Sorry, I got my back to you there. Welcome. Welcome. I heard you were dancing before. I know you. How you doing? But I think what you just said about things that were happening in the 90s, that like kind of coming into the new century. There are a lot of people in this room, we've come from that 90s production background and been a part of that metamorphosis and that change. And what camera you were running around with on a skateboard running down those road, what cameras, what lenses were you, the things that you're picking up. And I think like here we are in the middle of the biggest media production technology trade show in the world where there is so much disruption. But how do you prevent yourself, like how do you embrace it and not get so overwhelmed? And let's harness the creativity. How do you foster that creativity, especially with some of your teams and the people you're working with?
Well, I guess in my business, everything is idea-driven. So you just think of something, and I think what we're experiencing right now is we are again liberated. Also, what you're talking about those technologies working together, that liberated you to make things that previously were unimaginable. And you became almost on a professional level, you could make stuff. And I think now, for instance, photography point of view, with all the AI imaging tools, you can create the most amazing things in the most amazing locations with the most amazing looking people, just from your office, from your desk. And especially during COVID, of course, where you couldn't go anywhere and you were very limited anyway. Yeah. This was just expanding the horizon so massively. Yeah. And was so inspiring to create all these things that were previously just, you couldn't do them without huge production teams. Yeah. Now all of a sudden I can make amazing productions with pure creativity. And I think that's
what's interesting is that as we're sitting behind you, obviously your face is there, but the name of this session is Foster Creativity, Spark Innovation. It's almost Foster Innovation, Spark Creativity.
Yeah,
this can be interchangeable. But what leads your productions?
What leads my production? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always the creative idea.
Good
or the
answer.
business idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then making sure you're nurturing that into what your customers want or what your clients are after.
Yeah, and I think we're now, I'm experiencing that the customers don't even know what they can want.
Yes.
So we just make it, and then they can see what they want. Yes. So the relationship between the client and the people that produce it changes because we produce stuff that people now want to buy.
Right.
Instead of the other way around.
So you're finding there's a little bit more democratization in the prototyping and things.
It's definitely more democratizing, and just the same way as what Instagram did to photography for in the beginning. All photographers were afraid. Like,
you remember Flickr?
Well, it's still there.
It is.
You have your Windows login.
Yeah. Have you do that? Yeah. I mean, what about you, Michael? Like, how do you? What are the kind of things that you're working on? What are the asks that are coming to you? What are people going, how do I figure this out? What do I need to know about X, Y, Z? Or like, what is freaking everybody else out that you can go, it's okay?
Well, a lot of people are overwhelmed with how many things are changing when they happen to change in a short amount of time. That freaks everybody out. Too much change at once is bad. A little change over time is good, right? And we don't always get to govern what that change pace is always like. One thing that always used to bother me is when I would discover something that I was sure would change everything, I thought by tomorrow everyone would know. And then you find very few people know about this change, or they only know about it, they haven't implemented it.
Right.
And I've always been disappointed as an entrepreneur with the slow adoption of things that I am certain are going to happen. Yeah. I'm always sad because I'm like, if it's a certainty that we're going to shoot digital or digital projection will take over film projection, or AI will do X, Y, and Z, then why not just get on with it? Let's just get it over with.
Stop talking about it and try it.
But I feel a lot of people say, well, let's just pace it out and go slower.
Do you feel like it's taking somebody to a new restaurant that they've never been to before? They're just used to a Taco Bell and you want to bring them to a 5-star Michelin
You'd think they'd enjoy it, but
Right.
you know, the truth is, what I've learned is that, and it's for good reason,
Yeah.
being suspicious and hesitant about change is usually motivated
Yes.
with good intent.
Yes.
Because the stakes are high, you're uncertain, you're afraid, there's a lot of instruction to do it, there's education, so it makes sense things take a long time.
Yeah.
What we have to do is find people who are willing to take those risks and make sure you employ a couple of risk takers or your friends with a couple of risk takers and you have them push you to the edge. A good
Right.
risk taker will lead you to the edge but not let you fall over. And they'll
Right.
just push you to the edge. And I always tell my
A
clients,
little bit of a safety belt.
I'll take you to the edge. I won't let you fall, but we're going
Yes.
to go to the edge. You're going to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I've got you.
Yeah.
And you could find early adopters of these technologies, and they would do that. And I just find that now is like one of the best times. And when people, if I were to synthesize, one of the biggest fears about AI is, you know, job replacement. People bring that up a lot, but I would simply
Every
say,
day.
I would simply say that the AI is not going to remove anybody's job. It won't. The person sitting next to you that learns AI, that's the person that's going to take your job because they're going to learn a tool,
AI cannot function without the human still.
and the person who uses
Absolutely.
it will take the job. So you're just going to be competing with each other, which is what
Yes.
we've always done,
Yes.
is competed with each other for work and for creativity and for jobs and for
Yes.
projects and equipment, and we'll just work together. We're just going to change some of the equipment out, but we retain the control of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe those of us that earn and learn the new stuff, no matter what it is, have an advantage and have the ability to articulate what's in our mind and get it to come out on the screen.
But that's also, with that comes responsibility, ethicals, morals. You know, we've moved away from the child labor thing, haven't we? Right. You know, but ultimately, you know, when we are in the field of maybe being a bit more knowledgeable about emerging technologies, it's also our responsibility to educate and make sure we can foster creativity that can spark, you know, and I think content production comes under the an umbrella of innovation no matter what. You know, is there anyone in the room that is an actual director, DOP, filmmaker? Good. Most of the people in this room. So we see, oh, that's good. We see, you're really tired, sir. You needed some help. That's okay. But I think that's coming with that creativity, you know. So what's the weirdest thing? What's the biggest challenge that you've got right now? What's making you go, ooh? What makes Helsing go, ooh?
I guess GPT hallucinating. That's a big risk.
Is
I
it?
mean, you can't rely on it too much.
GPT on mushrooms or something.
Yeah.
We are in
it
Amsterdam,
goes
ladies
off-
and gentlemen.
it
So
goes
even
off the
AI.
rails
Hello. Even AI can take
Oh, yes, absolutely.
coffee shop AI.
No, it sounds very authoritative, but you have to be careful. You have to check, and you have to validate everything that you let go through it. So
That sounds like a lot of extra time, a lot of extra legwork, and an inefficient way of working. But it has to be done, doesn't it?
it has to be done, and it can be
So-
automated as well.
Sure.
So
Sure. When
Yeah.
done cleverly.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's not using AI in their workflows or implementation, then I think it's just, you know, making sure you're putting the right ducks in a row.
Well, the truth is today we're not really using AI very much at all. It's this little parlor trick right now, right? Like you walk by someone who can do a magic trick with a deck of cards.
Yeah.
It's cool for like a minute, but it isn't really something that's going to sustain forever or even a 2-hour magic show. Just card tricks aren't enough. So what I'm doing is trying to separate generative AI from utilitarian AI. And for me, the AI opportunity for our community is in its utility, not its creation. And while some people may want to use AI for creation, they're welcome to do that. That's fine. But I'm really thinking about how to leverage it to make the boring parts happen faster so creative people can get to the good stuff automatically. And they can maybe make it better quality or make it there faster.
Yeah.
And that's a utilitarian approach to get AI to do the stuff that you don't want to do at
So
all.
can you give us an example of that, just
An
for anyone in the
example
room
would be
learning?
like syncing audio is not someone anybody aspires to do. And if you're really good at syncing audio, you're not really better than anyone else at it because it's a binary. It either is in sync or it's not, right? Or blemish removal, or even rotoscoping, cutting out mats and things like that. These are not creative tasks. They're utility tasks, or transcribing or translating.
there are jobs, though.
They are jobs,
Yeah.
but a lot of people it falls on them to do it. So
no, but
this allows.
now I can do it.
But no, I'm saying a lot of content creators will do their own work, their own syncing, their own roto screens, their own cleanup.
Yeah.
And if you're allowing people who do that themselves anyway to get there faster, they can get to the color correction or the sound mixing faster or better, and they won't have to wait or delay those creative processes that they're looking forward to.
It still requires tool sets and
And we have
learning
to
those
find
tool
them.
sets,
Yeah.
and we're surrounded by that by 97 holes and 15 miles of, how do we find it? What's the advice we can give our friends? By the way, we're all friends, okay? Anyone in this circle, it's a very close court here. No one, you're not allowed to leave, by the way, the rest of the day.
What's the general advice for this?
Bouncing off of what Michael just said. So we know that there's, I say, give an example of, the integration of the AI and the tools and what you've seen lately, and that kind of sound syncing, which we know is something that is required, or else it'll be a really unpleasant experience.
Well, all those things are now massively simplified. So they used to be hurdles, but they've been taken away. And every month, new hurdles are being taken away. It's for anybody to create very good content.
Right. Are you feeling like, because I'm a visual girl, you say it, I see it. It's you're running over the hurdles, but you're smashing the hurdle down?
No,
or you just
well, you
tossing
smash
it?
once in a while, but I mean,
Don't hurt your groin, Helsing.
No, I won't.
Okay.
No.
But you're thinking of. The tools are there. The tools are there, aren't they? But it's just more about how do you, what is the right thing? I don't think you can give just a generic advice, because it's about what are you creating, who is it for, how are you doing it, and then you can say, hey.
Yeah, for me, when I want to solve a certain problem or I have an issue, I call friends and ask them, what have you been using to do that? I tap into the community.
Like a Reddit board
AI,
or something.
Yeah, or just my Instagram.
Okay, but then
community.
what Instagram community are you tapping into? What
My
Reddit
own.
board are you going
my
to?
own. That is
Oh, got you.
basically
Okay.
the people I
Okay.
follow and the people that follow me.
Yes.
And I see them doing things. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yes.
And I should.
Well, I think we're going to go to audience questions now.
Well, I wanted to say one last thing, which was what I think is going to change. If I were to synthesize what really is going to change in behavior, here's what I would predict. What's going to behaviorally change is, for the last 25 or 30 years, we have all been learning major applications, whether they're digital audio workstations, editors, or color correction stations. We've been doing that. What's going to happen is we are going to start to taskify our jobs. We're going to see our jobs farmed out into little tasks. In other words, instead of having a super application with 500 buttons, you're going to farm out the one thing you need to one tool that does it. And so we're going to see a movement towards taskified workflow, away from what we've done, which is like a Swiss Army knife, where our tools have a button for everything. That's going to start to go away, and the taskified solutions are going to be better at it, and they're going to be faster at it, and so that's going to drive people, and they're going to be driven by AI. So workflow will become AI-driven through task-based workflow, as opposed to tool-based workflow.
Yes, and as we're sitting in the ZHP with Intel, area of those tools being developed in extreme performance and infinite possibility. Okay, Eric. And also, I want to defend ETC in Southern California. That it's changed now. You need to go back to Cali for a little bit. So.